5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody.
Hi,
I know I don't
everybody.
have I don't have to count down. I'm running. We always say we're going to go live at 7 o'clock Eastern. We always go live at 7:00 something Eastern. That's just simply because we have to make sure that we have everything set. So this is the best broadcast ever. So anyway, welcome to Lipedema Wellness Conversations with Gail. That's me and Bryan, and friends and Bryan today, and that's him over there. Um, and I'm here, yeah, and I'm here today with Bryan Hayward, my friend, my colleague, and just an all-around good guy. Bryan, I want to introduce you, and I never know if I introduce you properly. You have never corrected me, which I don't know if I always appreciate. Because if I'm doing something wrong, I hope people correct
I
me.
didn't know you weren't.
I don't
Can't
know if
even
I am or
remember.
not.
I don't even
So,
remember.
one of the things I like to do is I like to be able to bring to our community people who have a story. And wait a minute, that would be everybody, right? Everybody
Mm,
has a story, and everybody's story in some way either inspires a person or makes a person think deeply, maybe gives them a new idea, maybe they just enjoy it. So the story that I know about Bryan is that he is a very caring individual who loves to work with people and helps them live their best lives. And part of living our best life is to deal with as little pain as possible, physical pain as possible, so that we can be more active, so that we can maybe not feel so fatigued all the time, because living in pain is difficult. And so that's one of the things I know about Bryan, always helping and those sorts of things. But another thing I know about Bryan is
uh-oh.
he is a retired chemical engineer,
That's true.
which I don't know if that's all he's ever done. I don't know when he was an engineer, a chemical engineer, a Kimmy. I don't know what he's done with his life. I know bits and pieces. So, with that, if there is something that Bryan has never shared with our
Uh-oh.
community before, but I would like to invite him to do that. So, Bryan, for you to, I'd like to invite you to share something today that you don't think you've ever shared with our community.
Oh my God.
Oh, by the way, people out
I
there
was no. I
in
was just
TV
talking
land.
with my family. I was just talking with my family the other day about an experience that I had when I was in engineering school. When in May or so of 1970, when I graduated.
Oh my God.
Don't you dare.
I was 10.
1970. I
I was 10.
was 23.
Holy
God. Anyways, enough of that. That's not
Okay.
very nice. Anyway, so that
Uh,
was when the Vietnam War, President Nixon made a major offensive, um, and all of the colleges, at least in Boston, I think the whole country shut down. They all the colleges just emptied out, and we protested and the rest of that and shut everything down. And I didn't know whether I was going to get a degree or not because it was like a month before I graduated. And so we didn't find out until the summertime whether or not they were actually going to give us a degree. And I did get it, thank God. And
wow.
that's something that nobody in the community, not many people know that, period.
Yeah. You know, I was in a class today, um, in the exchange program,
Hmm.
and one of the things that we had to talk about was a moment in our lives where we felt we had to be particularly resilient.
Mm. Mm.
And that would be one of those
Oh, yeah.
moments where we had to
Mm.
kind of buck up a little bit, decide how and how to put the next foot in front of the last foot,
Mm.
how to take each new step.
Mm.
And the question was, what did we, what was the biggest gift or the biggest lesson that you carried the rest of your life after you went through that tough moment where you had to really be resilient through that? So I don't know if you carried a lesson from that throughout your life
I
or
don't know
not.
about
I know, right? I'm asking you these questions. I'm going to tell people right now. Um, I do not pre interview my guests.
Yeah,
I
because I
have,
knew nothing about these questions at all.
we don't discuss this. All of these things are, hey, we're
Just
holding
right
a
off.
conversation. When we're having a conversation with people, we never pre conversation. We never pre convo it, do
No,
we?
we don't do
No,
that.
we just don't do it when I have a conversations with somebody. We don't really prepare for them. We just have a conversation. So you don't have to answer that, Bryan. I give you
I think
the,
I just learned that I needed to stand up for what I believed in, regardless of the consequences.
wow,
That's
that's
kind of,
huge though.
hmm,
That's huge. Standing up for what you believe in regardless,
right.
right?
Because that's
Because
what
it's
we
being,
all did.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
being true
all
to
of those kids.
yourself. Yeah. And there's other things that you've done in your life to be true to yourself
Right.
and and what you believe in. And part of that, from what I see, that's a great segue. Part of that, what I see is that you do that every day of your life. You stand up for what you believe in, um, regardless of the pressure that's coming from the outside world, because
Hmm.
you believe in this. You believe, you know it, you know it's right. And I see you doing that every day.
Hmm.
Um, we do have some questions. We have some questions here, and we'll talk about them in a minute. I will answer your question, Wendy. I appreciate that question. So um, if I don't get it answered here in a few with Bryan, um, remind me of that question, okay, Wendy? Because I do want to honor your question about dietary changes. But with the things that you believe in, Bryan, how do you use that when you work with the lipedema community?
Hmm. Well, I think that the plan is to be honest with the people in the community and tell them about the things that I know about, and without any expectation in return. I think that's
Okay.
probably really important, is to just, however it all works out is fine. But I think it's worth me talking about the things that I have learned, in the idea that it seems like it's helped quite a few of the women in the community.
Right, right. And I think you say that in such a way because you're telling us right now you believe in helping people. You have researched just a myriad of stuff first. CBD oil. You've learned how it's helped people with inflammation, it helps people with pain. And even though you sell a product, you also, that's not your ultimate goal,
Right.
is to sell the product, the CBD product. Your ultimate goal is to give people relief,
Mm,
right? From
right.
pain or from whatever else is they're dealing with. And I find that very honorable because some people would just sell you CBD and give you kind of a snow job, right? They'll just blow smoke around at you and here, buy my product and woohoo, I'm out of your life. You don't do that. You educate.
Mhm.
And so how did you get involved with CBD?
I've had arthritis most of my life, even as a young person. I had signs of arthritis arriving, and doctors telling me that that might be what was causing my pain. But as I've gotten older, the worst part of it is these hands of mine and other joints in my body have gotten particularly uh, painful with osteoarthritis. And I knew that taking ibuprofen and Tylenol in large doses, 1,200 milligrams at a crack several times a day, was the only thing that was kind of reducing that pain. And I found out a number of years ago when I talked to my doctor about there's got to be something we can do about that. And I went to see specialists and the rest. And what I was told was that Tylenol will destroy my liver, ibuprofen will destroy my stomach, and that I was told by the arthritis doctor that I had to stop doing that. And so I said, so then what do I do? I'm not going to take opiates to take away the pain. I didn't want to anyway. And they kind of said, you'll just have to live with it, because he said it's as bad as anything he's ever seen, my hands. And it's bad enough that it probably won't get much worse. And I don't think that was necessarily true. It has gotten worse, considerably worse over time. And so what happened is that I started to learn about it. Last week I asked my primary care at Mass General in Boston, is there anything new on the arthritis thing? And he just kind of went, no, there's nothing. So I don't know. It's a tough thing. And I think, lipedema may be similar to that. A lot of people have that situation with lipedema, except the doctors weren't telling me it was all my fault, which is what I hear a lot of times with people with lipedema, is that it's your fault. You're not eating properly. You need to change your diet. You're not telling me the truth, because you would lose weight if you were eating what you told me you were eating. And for people with lipedema, that's not at all the truth. And it's not your fault if you have lipedema and you can't lose weight.
Right.
So,
And in a sense, it's the same. I mean, if we have lipedema, it's not our fault. Just like for you, it's not your fault that you have this
arthritis,
this
right?
osteoarthritis that you've been dealing with your whole life. And even though you had somebody who believed in osteoarthritis, they still told you,
Yeah.
not much you can
Can't do
do
anything
about
about
it,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Can't do much
Yep.
about it. And we deal with doctors who don't even, they just pass it off.
Right.
And, I always feel like it's, and this is going to sound sad, but I always feel like it's because we're women. But I also know women who have osteoarthritis, and basically it's Tylenol, leave, ibuprofen. Don't take it all the time because it's going to end up causing you issues. And so, with that, you had a breakthrough, though, when you met a particular person, or you discussed things with a particular person. Can you tell us the story about that?
Yeah. My daughter, who is a midwife, one of her clients was a nurse, and that nurse heard about my arthritis pain from my daughter, and the nurse suggested that I try CBD, and she recommended a company that she worked with regularly and trusted the people. And so I started using CBD. I tried, they had a salve, an ointment that I put on my hands. And the first time I used it, within about 10 minutes, the pain was almost gone. And, that's much quicker and much better than any of those over-the-counter medications. And I tried tinctures, and that also helped. And I tried to learn about it because I knew it was working, but I didn't know why. And so if you go on the internet and you try to get information about CBD, you're unlikely to get anything. I was unable to find anything that I thought was true. A lot of people marketing something that they didn't understand and couldn't technically explained to me, because I've got that background in engineering and chemistry, and I knew that they didn't, when they were telling me things, I knew those things weren't true, that couldn't, a lot of things they say can't be true. So spent a lot of time trying to locate good quality sources, and Mayo Clinic has some really good information on lipedema and osteoarthritis and CBD and those, all of those subjects. So I got some good information there. I found some other research, medical people who weren't making money selling CBD. They just simply wanted to get the answers to some of the questions. And so I learned a lot about CBD through those kind of technical sources. But, you know, everybody that's marketing CBD on the internet doesn't really want me to get there. So I had to find my way around it. So,
you had to find, you had to be able to weed out those who really don't want you to have the answers.
Right.
Right. And so with the CBD,
Yep.
you actually, it's been almost 2 years.
Yeah.
It'll be 2 years on the 28th of this
December.
month. On the 20th of December is when I first met you.
Mm-hmm.
Now I was skeptical, you know. I'm not.
Yes, you were.
Snake oil. I was.
Difficult.
I'm a difficult client. I was skeptical. I did not. To me, it's a, how can this be a magic pill? How can this be something that's just going to take care of it? And so I went to your webinar, your fireside chat, several times before I said, okay,
nothing.
I bought
Didn't
nothing.
Want anything.
I didn't want anything. I didn't want anything to do with it.
She's kind of sitting back there listening, you know. But anyways.
Well, I'm known as a lurker. I'll tell people all the time. I just lurk. I just watch. I would actually, truthfully, I would run the fireside chats and go, I can't believe I'm doing this because I don't believe in it. I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't believe in it.
Catherine told you that.
But I was told by people. People were telling me all the time, oh yeah, you know, since I've been taking this, you know, the pain in my legs has subsided. My hands feel better. You know, they kept talking to me about that, and I would be going, I don't believe it. Oh, I don't believe it. You know, I was so skeptical, Bryan. And then my Aunt Sandy ordered some. She ordered some, and she said, I want to take the pills. She ordered the caplets and she ordered the tincture. And she goes, I don't want the tincture. I just want 2 introductories. And she bought 2 packages, which ended up being a Savina tincture and a Savina caplet, right? And so she kept the salve for herself and the caplets, and she gave me the tincture.
Right. And you drank directly out of the bottle.
And I put so much in my mouth that it was squirting out the side. It was bad. It was bad. But I got a good night's sleep for the first time in a long time. Because my legs weren't jumping. And like Beverly said, I tried CBD oil once and it didn't help. How do you know the correct CBD to use? And so Bryan helps explain things to our community on the power of CBD and how to select a quality CBD. And if you have a quality CBD and it doesn't work, it might not work for you.
Yeah, it's okay.
But if you have a not quality CBD and it doesn't work for you, you don't know CBD would work for you. I guess that's what I'm saying. So Bryan, that question's a great segue leading into how do you select a high quality CBD? And how do you tell if it's working for you? And maybe like what you might be wanting it to work for. So I'm going to go ahead and open that question up for you. How do I know I'm getting a quality CBD?
I've got a couple of slides that I think you can play for me.
Okay.
Up there you go. I guess I'm
Is this
hoping
the
that
slide you
everyone can
want?
see that and read all of that clearly. So here's the thing. There's 4 quality checks at the left side of the screen are 4 quality checks. If what I do is if I go to anywhere, a drugstore or a gas station or wherever it is that you might find CBD, and it's everywhere. If you look at the label, you can tell if it's a quality product or not. And the way I do that anyway is that first thing I want to do is to be sure that the full spectrum CBD, those 3 words are on the label in that order, just like that. Sometimes people put full spectrum one place on the label and CBD on another, and hoping to trick people into thinking it's full spectrum CBD. But so if they've got it as full spectrum CBD, then they're legally obligated to actually have full spectrum CBD in the product. The next thing that I look for is that it says it's organic CBD, and essentially it'll either say on a label USDA certified or state regulated. It's either the state that it's being grown in, because each state that gets involved with regulating CBD production goes to the USDA to get approval from the USDA that they can certify in their state that their farmers are producing organic CBD. So that's the next thing you want to know. That those are the first 2 things. The third thing, and the key as far as I'm concerned to whether or not I'm going to get a quality product, is that it's from a single source, from a single farm. I look on the label to see where the product is, where the hemp is grown that produced the CBD. I want to know that it's in the United States, and I want to know that it's from a specific farm.
Now, can I interrupt you because other countries also have regulations.
Yes.
Like Canada.
Yep.
With Canada, you want it to be either provincial or federally regulated.
Yeah, if you're buying
I think you
CBD,
have to.
CBD in Canada is highly regulated, and other countries it's highly regulated there. But I would still want to know, wherever it is, what farm did it come from? So when people from Canada say to me, can you let me know if this product that I'm using up here is a quality product? These are the criteria still. It's still the same criteria. And so,
Okay.
if you're in Italy or England or, whatever you are, you want to know where the product comes from. So,
Okay.
So anything that I have, anything that I would promote, has the name of the farm on it, so that people who buy a product that has the farm's name on it, they know that they're not getting product that's made from hemp from the lowest price available on the world market, because you don't want to buy hemp on the open market at the lowest possible price. I'll talk a little bit about that, but generally it's highly contaminated, and God knows what you're getting. And then the fourth thing that I look for on the label is the website address where I can get independent lab test results. You have to be able to get certified lab test results on the product that you're buying, so you know that you're not contaminated with a variety of heavy metals and pesticides and things like that. So those 4 things, if you see a product and you look and you find those 4 things on the label, then you probably have a quality product. So it's wherever you buy a product, just if you check these things, you'll be comfortable. The other thing is that you would want to know is how many milligrams of CBD are in the container, and how many milligrams of CBD is recommended per dose. And the dosage on CBD is almost always 15 to 30 milligrams per dose. So if you're
Right.
going to take CBD by mouth with a tablet or a gel cap or a tincture, it's always going to be between 15 and 30 milligrams for a dose.
Right. And Bryan, um, before I used your product,
Mm-hmm.
I used a product. I went to a place that sold CBD. It was probably a multi-level marketing situation,
Mm-hmm.
because I actually bought a membership, and they had so many products. They had a roll-on, they had a salve, they
Yeah.
had a sleep spray, they had a there was like every kind of CBD product under the sun. And it was like they had all these products that they put CBD oil in or
Mm-hmm.
CBD in. And so I would try this and I try that and I tried all. And I tried a sleep spray, right? And I had no idea that I should be looking for full spectrum CBD. I had no idea that I should be looking for organic or single source or the testing or whatever. I didn't know I should actually read the label. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know that. So here I am using this product and I was sleeping really well. But then I read the label and believe it or not, I had very little CBD in there. I believe it was an isolate, which means it was just CBD. Um, and it could just say CBD on it. It was basically a melatonin spray. So I was paying CBD prices for melatonin, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when you take a look at the label, it's really important to understand what the label says.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is a very valuable thing. And I found that truthfully for me, there's only right now for me there's only three products.
Right.
Two to ingest, a CBD capsule or a CBD tincture,
Mm-hmm.
in a carrier oil, and a salve, a
Right.
rub-on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, when someone says, like Beverly asked, how do you know the correct CBD to use? Sometimes it's the correct CBD product,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's a high quality CBD. Because, some people might say, I don't want to take any pills. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like the taste of a tincture, but I'll use the salve,
Mm-hmm.
right? So those are the kind of questions you have to ask. What is the purpose of the CBD?
Right.
That's just me interjecting. Thank you for
Okay. Yeah.
letting me talk.
And I will talk some more about that too, about what do you take and how do you use it and how much. And the one other thing on this slide that I think is really important is that besides not knowing how to determine whether it's quality or not, most people have no idea what they're actually paying for or how much they should pay for it. And so everybody in the market, pretty much everybody in the market, anything I've ever seen, is they they charge based on the milligrams of CBD, full spectrum CBD in the container. And so when you look at a container and it says it has 1,000 milligrams of CBD in it, the whole market charges between 5 cents and 10 cents per milligram of CBD. So when you look at a label, if it's 1,000 milligrams, you should be paying between $50 and $100 for that. If it's a 500 milligram container, then you should be paying $25 to $50. And if it's like, say, for 300 milligrams, it's 15 to 30. Most people aren't going to sell any CBD product for less than $15, just because it's pretty hard to bring any product to the market without making at least that amount of money on it. But you can take a picture of this page here on your phone if you want. Anybody who's listening, just take a picture of that if you want to, and then you'll have it anytime you're concerned about some CBD product that you're looking at. You can check the quality checks. You can see what the dosage how many milligrams are in the container, and you can figure out how much you should pay for it. If you're going to be charged significantly more than that chart, you're probably paying too much. If you're paying significantly less than what's on the chart, then you're probably not getting real CBD. So
Okay.
that particular slide is really important, I think. And then if you can bear with me, I've got another one here. These are some facts about CBD quality, and I just want to kind of run through it. Lisa Fletcher, ABC News analyst, investigative reporter, in an article that she wrote, she said that 70% of the CBD that's sold in the USA comes from foreign countries. And that doesn't necessarily make it bad. It's just that the open market CBD is worldwide. And so your 70% of anything that's going to be purchased at low price is going to come from foreign countries, and likely places in those countries that is not regulated. And the end result of that can be pretty unpleasant. The next line here is a quote from Jason Crawford. He's from Flowering Hope Foundation in Colorado, just very well known in the industry as a trustworthy person. And his statement is that overseas they use hemp to do cover crops. They use it to purposely suck out the pesticides and heavy metals from soil so that they can plant food crops the next year. They call the hemp plant is a bioactivator. It sucks whatever's in the soil out of the soil. So that's serious. That's when you buy on the open market, that's the hemp you're buying. And it's very cheap, but it's not quality. And then another, I got to go backwards here. Another trustworthy person is Sean Callahan. He owns Lips Analytics in Denver, Colorado, well known in the industry. A lot of people use their laboratory for testing. He tested 240 top selling CBD products for contaminants, found that 70% of the products were found highly contaminated with heavy metals like lead and arsenic, herbicides like glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in Roundup, and a host of other contaminants, including pesticides, BPA, and toxic mold. 270% of the products that are being sold in the United States right now are contaminated like this. This is a terrible thing because it's a fairly unregulated Wild West kind of market. And that's what I found when I started to look to get information about it. But these people are reputable people. So it's the kind of thing that you want to know, that you want to buy. If you know the farm it's from, you got a really good chance of being safe. If you don't know what farm it's from, I would never buy it. And you were talking a little bit about tinctures and capsules and topicals and things like that. The two main ways to take CBD is either with a tincture under your tongue or with a capsule that you just put in your mouth like you would any other pill and drink it with water. Either way works fine. Either way, they're identically the same chemistry that's going into your body. One's in a capsule and one's from a dropper. So I recommend that people try two doses for the first couple of weeks. They try one of these products, either a tincture or a capsule, not both. Just try it twice a day for a couple of weeks. And at the end of 2 weeks, you're going to know whether CBD is going to work for you or not. It's very simple. These are really concentrated, high quality products. So if it doesn't work, then it's probably not the pain that you're experiencing or the discomfort that you have or the lack of sleep that you have is not related to the kind of things that CBD can help. Generally, after a couple of weeks and it works well for you, it's worth trying to do it, to take one dose a day, because CBD works in a very wide, full spectrum CBD works in a very wide range of dosage. So you might find out that at half the dosage once a day, you will end up getting the same results that you got at twice a day. And so you can try that and see, and that's the least expensive way, because you want to get the lowest dose that gives you the results you desire, so you don't spend any more money than you need to. So those are the two main things of internal for CBD. And the other way of getting CBD into your body is with topical salves and lotions. And those things you just apply directly to wherever the pain is. Me, it's my hands or shoulders, hips, knees. For the lipedema ladies, a lot of times it's just rub right on the legs, slather it on your legs. It's pretty inexpensive to use topicals, so you can slather it on, and that kind of a product goes right into your ear, into your blood stream, but it goes in through where the pain is and where the inflammation is. And so that generally in 5 or 10 minutes will reduce the pain pretty dramatically. If it doesn't reduce the pain at all, then it's probably not going to work for you. So these things you can find out very quickly whether CBD is the right thing for you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so when we talk about dosages here, we're talking about between 15 and 30 milligrams.
Yes.
Is one dose.
Yep.
And I know that you have two different caplets. One is 25 milligrams and one is 30 milligrams.
Yep.
So, you know, if I take 2 a day, I'm getting 60 milligrams of the ones I buy.
Yep.
I buy the 30, where others might get 50, but you'll still see at that level, you will either see results, go, yeah, or you won't. And I also think, Bryan, that sometimes you might say, okay, it might not have like relieved my pain, but I sure kept, my legs aren't jumping all night.
Yeah.
Or, you know, so you might be surprised at what it helps with.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that full spectrum CBD has over 100 different CBD type products. They're called cannabinoids. It's not all CBD. There's like 99 or 100 more types of cannabinoid CBD type products that are in there, and they do different things. They have different effects on your body. And excuse me, I'm losing my voice. So and like restless leg syndrome, a lot of people say that their restless leg syndrome is gone as a result of taking a tablet before they go to bed, capsule before they go to bed. So a lot of the ladies find that the pain in their body is so much better that they go from being somewhat immobilized to mobile, going out to the grocery store, walking, those kinds of things. It's not without a little difficulty still, but the pain is manageable with an awful lot of women that I've talked to that are using the product. So it's a pretty exciting thing for people to try. And the big thing is that when lipedema sends messages to the brain that there's a problem, the brain sends help to those areas, and that help is generally inflammation form occurring. That's how the body heals itself in a normal and natural way, by sending compounds that produce inflammation and swelling in the body. That's natural. The problem is that when you have chronic pain or chronic discomfort from lipedema or any other thing like arthritis, that's the brain is sending help all the time when it's not really necessary, and it's causing chronic inflammation. CBD is particularly effective at reducing chronic inflammation.
Yeah, and it does. And so I take at least one CBD capsule a day, and I also use the salve. I use the two of them together. I find if I've been on my feet for a very long time that, you know, my legs are achy and just feeling heavy, I just start with my toes and I just put the salve up until I get to my knees. And by the time I get to my knees, get the salve rubbed into my knees, my feet usually already feel better. It works rather quickly, and I also use it on my hands. And you know, it always feels good to rub those knuckles. For some reason, it always feels good. So Bryan, is it okay for me to take down that screen so I can see your face better? There you are. So Bryan's company is Natural Wellness Boston, and it looks like this. And I'm going to, as soon as I take that off, I'm going to put that in the comments so that you can just click on that and go right to his company. If you want to discuss things with Bryan, and I'll tell you, Bryan he's a salesperson, but he's not a salesperson. Because what he wants you to do is get healthy He wants you to feel better. And so if you have CBD on your shelf at home, he's not going to say, throw it away, buy mine. What he's going to say is, let me take a look at that label. Let's discuss that
Yeah.
label. And to do that, you can just text him, right? You can
Or
send him a
call
picture,
me.
say, huh?
Or
What'd you
call
say?
me. I'm
Or
happy
call.
to
Yeah,
answer the
that's
phone.
true.
I'm
That's
happy to
true.
talk.
He is happy to talk to you on the phone. Um, he's happy to have a Zoom meeting with you. He's happy, pretty much whatever you want. I mean, Brian will talk to you. He is in he is on the East Coast. He's in Boston. On the East Coast, listen to me. He's back east. I live in Boise, so he's back east.
Yeah.
So just remember that when you call him or text him, he probably turns his phone off and has some time with his lovely wife, children, and grandchildren. And so we need to respect that. But he's always willing to give you a chat. He and discuss what you're dealing with. The other thing that Bryan does is he does work closely with women with lipedema. He changed his way of eating.
Yep.
Are you still pretty much going with your plan?
I'm semi-keto.
You're semi-keto. It's not always right, semi-keto. But
Yep.
he also found that he heard us talking about keto, talking about getting off of grains, talking about how nutrition really helps us to lower inflammation. And I know that Wendy wanted to talk about that, and it says, what type of dietary changes can help with lipedema? And then she says, not to lose fat, but to reduce inflammation.
Right. Yeah.
And what we have discovered at Lipedema Simplified is that that the ketogenic way of eating. Now, we don't mean internet keto. We don't mean a bunch of keto treats and a keto shake and a keto this and a keto that. We're meaning whole foods, natural foods keto, where you also check out and see, like, little experiments. How do I react to tomatoes? How do I react to bell peppers? How do I react to eggs? How do I react to dairy? So you're always looking for that, trying to narrow down your best eating style for you. But one of the things we talk about is whole foods keto as much as possible. So we're looking at things that don't have ingredients. We're looking at ingredient foods. Oh, look, here is a piece of meat. Oh, look, here's an egg. Oh, you know what I mean? So a whole food rather than a bunch of processed foods. And so when we talk about keto with Lipedema Simplified, we're truly talking about a very natural way of eating, trying to get back to the eating foods that love us as much as we love them. We have coaches. We have a nutritionist. Her name is Carrie Reedy, and she works closely with many of our women. So she'll talk about it. We have Leslie Keith, who often talks about how keto helps the lipedema patient, and we have Siobhan Huggins, who's big in the low carb keto world, and she'll talk about why keto and eating low carb can really help with the inflammation. So it's very important to talk about not necessarily anti-inflammatory foods, but foods that don't cause us personally, don't cause us inflammation. And those are things like whole foods, natural foods. And so our first step always has been to get away from processed foods and start eliminating grains, the higher carbs, the higher sugar, fruits and fruits. I'd say vegetables, but they're all fruits, except for like peas and those sorts of things. And so we always are trying to lower our carbs because we feel better. and we feel better because there's less inflammation in our bodies. And so we do that. And like keto, like Bryan says, he's semi-keto. I have no idea what that means, but I'm also semi-keto sometimes. So
I was
but
full keto for 2 years, but the first 2 years, well, so it's just about,
yeah,
maybe a year and a half I was full keto, and only in recent months have I added a couple of little things in that I probably shouldn't. But I lost weight and I felt better, and I think the pain in my hands was less.
yeah, yeah. So we do find,
Carbohydrate, yeah. Sugar
yeah,
is a carbohydrate, and there's lots of other carbohydrates, and carbohydrates increase inflammation, and inflammation is the main cause of pain in the lipedema world. So it's a real clear relationship, and a lot of the women have tried reduced carbohydrate diets, and they've reduced their pain significantly as a result.
right.
So,
And some of us have to go completely off of carbohydrates
mhm.
for periods of a time at a time, and we find it successful. Now, that's another that's another statement, though, is what constitutes success. And sometimes it's weight loss, but it seems like more and more for those of us with lipedema, it's about reducing pain and increasing mobility
Mm.
and quality of life. And so we kind of sometimes we have to readjust um, our what we think is successful. So many of us are hooked to a scale with a number, right? And I
Mm.
noticed that Wendy said, it's not about losing weight for me. It's not about losing fat for me. I just want less inflammation. And so that's one of the things. Now, speaking of inflammation, Bryan, I we always think of inflammation as things that are bad, and it's not necessarily bad. It's something that our body does to help
Mhm.
heal, right? And all those things, everything gets sent through our body with the lymphatic system. And we learn more and more our nutrition, you know, our nutritional quality sometimes is affected by the lymphatic system. Our swelling's affected by the lymphatic system, or the lymphatic system is affected by our swelling. It's all the lymphatic system is there, and we know that the lymphatics are vital to our health. We're going to have a guest on Wednesday. That's tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern.
Oops,
His name is Dr. Raymond Perrin. I am going to put his information up.
you're freezing up.
We I don't want to freeze up. So I'm going to put this up here. So I don't know if it's me that's freezing or if it's Bryan that's freezing, but one of us is. Hopefully you can see.
I did. I just froze. Now you're frozen.
Okay. So hopefully you can see the banner I put across the bottom. Tomorrow we're having a free webinar, Wednesday, December 6th, 1 p.m.
Yep.
Eastern.
Yep.
And Dr. Raymond Perrin is going to come and he's going to present the Perrin technique, the technique that that he developed, and so it holds his name. I am going to put the link in the comments. If you register for this particular webinar, if you can't make it, like I can't make it to the webinar, I'm in the middle of a class at that time, I can't make this webinar. But if you register for this webinar, you will also get a link to the replays. So let's see if that posted. Will somebody out there throw a heart up or thumbs up so I can see if you guys are still getting me? Because I'm having some technical issues right here. Whoa, now I've got two Bryans. Hold on a minute, Bryan. Are you there? Okay.
I'm
There
here
you are.
now.
Okay. There you are. So I'm not, I can't tell if everybody's hearing us, but I see Marcia's thrown in some hearts, and so thank you so much. I'm glad that that you guys can still see me. So anyway, so tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have this webinar. And if you haven't heard about Dr. Perrin, he talks about all the lymphatics of the brain and the head, right, and the neck. And isn't that amazing? So now we're going to be talking about clarity of thought. We're going to be talking about how the glymphatics work. Glymphatics are the lymphatics of the brain. So it's going to be a fun, interesting webinar tomorrow. So if you get a chance to come to that, if you get a chance to register, there's still time. Even if you can't be there for the webinar, you'll get the replays. You will find him fascinating. With lipedema, it doesn't seem like lipedema comes by itself, right? I mean, I just have lipedema. I don't have anything else. It's probably, boy, I was going to say a pie in the sky attitude, because usually we have other things besides lipedema. But one of the things we really have is we have curiosity. We want to learn. We want more knowledge about what we deal with. And that's why we hold all these free webinars. With that said, I'm having a hard time getting Bryan back into our broadcast tonight. So take a chance. Reach out to Bryan. As you can see, I posted his telephone number and I posted his email. I posted his website, and I posted the free webinar registration link for the Perrin Technique. Make sure that you take a few moments, reach out to Bryan. If you have questions about CBD, if you're wondering about if you should be taking it or what kind of product you want, and then also register for that free webinar. With that said, I want to thank you very much for being here tonight with me. And now he's wiggling. Don't make faces, Bryan, because we might catch you at a bad time. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and say good night. And time I see you. Bye now.